Hello everyone. This is my presentation for the pattern recognition class, and my topic is predicting movie genre from the poster images of the movie and recommending similar movies. So in this presentation, I'll be going through some of the components, the existing approaches, and the evaluation of my project. And also later on, I'll be highlighting or showing you the working demonstration of my project. So what currently this project does is it takes the image, or the you can say the poster image of a movie, and based on that we train the convolutional neural network, and it identifies like on which category does it belong. Like it could be action movie, drama movie, comedy, and there can be many other. So for this, the data set we are using is from the Kaggle data set, and it has some 25 genre, including action, drama, comedy, and also the poster images of the data set. So we are developing a model to predict the movie from the poster. And so one of the question will be like, why are we using like poster images? So if you can see like any poster of an image, it shows many insightful information. Like there will be like action, this all this like it from the poster you can see that it is an action movie based on all the scenes and the nature or the actors and actresses one can easily see. And if you see the below image, this seems like something, kind of a family movie or a kids movie. So we are using the user face many challenges. So why do we want to solve this problem? So currently, like a normal user has to go under many challenges on which movie to watch, or like if I'm seeing a poster, I need to know like, okay, what can I expect from this movie? So the application or the model suggests on which genre that the movie belongs, and later on taking that information we can also recommend similar movies. So if I identify I take this poster and I identify as action, drama, or comedy, then I can also suggest some similar movies to this poster image. So I'll be also showing the recommender system. So basically the main components of my project is developing a CNN, which will help in identifying the poster image, the genre of the poster image, and later on developing a simple recommender system. So moving on, this is a multi-level classification. So as I told, when you have a poster image, it can belong to multiple classes or multiple labels. So one of the important thing is to know what is the difference between a multi-class and a multi-label. So as you can see here, like we have samples, like it could be a cloud, sun, or a moon. So here we can easily say, okay, it is a cloud. So it is just belonging to a single class. This is belong to a class sun. This belong to class moon. But if I take this thing here in a single image, there are multiple objects, or you can say multiple, there is a cloud and there is a sun. So it is belonging to multiple labels. And this is one of the challenging thing, even while testing the or validating our data set. This is one of the challenge to identify the multi-label. So this is multi-label and this is multi-class. So as I told, like the project can have like multiple genre, and there are 25 genre in our project. And the output it gives is a probability or likelihood that a poster belongs to a genre. So I'll be showing this in the demonstration part on how it displays the probability. So the application takes all the genre, and from that it tells us like what is the probability or likelihood that the given poster image belongs to this genre. So existing approaches is some of the related work that I had went through. So one of the simple solution is that simply search manually over the internet to learn about the movie. So if I know about a movie, I can easily just go to browse the internet and learn about it. But what if there are many, like hundreds of movies, and so it gets very difficult, right? And even like when I'm manually browsing, it is also difficult to know or recommend a similar movie. And the another paper of for this reference was using the YOLO object detection. So what this paper suggested was to identify some of the objects. So in the, like, let's say we have a poster, and there are images of guns, tanks, or aircraft. So based on those objects, we can identify, say, some similarity that it could be an action movie. So that was one of the approach that was shown by this paper. The another thing is the scene text recognition. So what it does is to it help us to identify on identifying the text. So basically, if you see a movie poster, then the text is not written in a simple manner, like just like a normal text, but it could be having various different typography, and identifying is that is also one of the challenge. So the one of the difficulty that this paper faced was to identify, like to get the data set with the proper annotation to train their model. So coming to our proposed solution. So in this, here we are using the multi-level classification with the help of convolutional neural network. And each movie poster has some similarity. So what I mean by this is that here is the, on the right hand side, you can see that these are all the action movies, and these on the left side are some of the kids movie. So there is some kind of right similarity between all the kids movie, like it's very colorful, animated, and that. And also in case of the right hand side, the action movies, these are very, very dark movies, you can say, or they have some similarities, like there is a isolated place, guns, war scene, action. So most of the movies, like it's not only based on the animation or the action, but even the comedy movies, there is always some similarity. So using these things, we are developing the convolutional neural network, and that we'll be seeing later. Now, visualizing inside the CNN, like what goes inside. So as we all know that the CNN has the many layers, like input layer, hidden layers, and the output layer. And the hidden layer is most likely known as the convolutional layer, because it performs the convol operation. So here is a simple image of 7 digit. Now, a computer does not know, right? The human can easily interpret that, yeah, it is a 7, but a computer cannot. So it has all the pixel values here in the range of 0 to 1. So it shows like what is the intensity of this pixel and everything. And we apply a filter. So one of the important thing that the layers perform is applying the filters. So this is a matrix of 3 by 3, and it is applied on this on the 3 by 3 of the square, the red box you can see, and it keeps on sliding and performing the dot product. And after applying the whole operation, we get this image, which is kind of smooth compared to this image. So this is the convol operation that the each layer performs. And based on this, you can identify many layers like the horizontal layer, vertical layers. And this is how the CNN is able to identify on what exactly the pattern is and filter that out. Coming to the model side, the model that we have used for, I have used for the convolutional neural network is we have included the convolutional 2D, maxpool 2D, dropout, dense, flatten, and the layer. And I'll be explaining one by one. So the conv 2D is basically the convolutional layer that extracts the information from a source image. Now, what this helps us is that the convolutional layer, this helps with the blurring or sharpening or edge detection or noise reduction or other operation that can help the machine to learn a specific factor or the characteristic of an image. The maxpool 2D layer is the pooling layer that reduces the image dimensionality without you losing important features or the pattern of our image. Then comes the dense layer, and so first I go into the dense layer. In the dense layer, which is also known as the fully connected layer, which results in the convolutional layer are fed through one or more parallel neural layers to generate a prediction. And also coming to the dropout layer, which is nothing but to reduce the overfitting of the images. So sometimes when you're training the convolutional neural network, then it could be possible that there could be some overfitting. So it drop out some of the parameters or something for us to make it to reduce the overfitting factor. Now then comes the flattening of the layers. So which is basically in the between of the convolutional and the fully connected layer or the dense layer, which is the dense, which is a flattened layer. So what the flattening does is that flattening transforms a two-dimensional matrix of features into a vector that can be fed into a fully connected neural network classifier. So that's what the flattening does. And here below is the image of the convolution and the max pool. And you can see now how the neural network is seems here. Now, another thing like important components of this is the activation function, which is the ReLU, which is a rectified linear unit, and the sigmoid. And we also have other units like softmax and other thing. But for this, we are using the ReLU and the sigmoid. So what the ReLU does is that it takes the max of 0 and the y. So if anything is like less than 0, then it will just make it 0. And if it is above than that, then it will consider that element. And then there is a sigmoid function. So here we are using sigmoid function basically because there are two things, like we can use the sigmoid or softmax. So the thing is that at the end of the layer, when we are at the output layer, when we are identifying, so it could be get affected. So if the value of this is say something x, then the softmax function will be depending on the score or the output of the other value. So that is not that we want for our CNN. So instead of that, we use the sigmoid function, which calculates independently of the other output layers. And then comes the optimizer ADAM, which I'll be discussing in the later slide. Now, the other thing that we are using loss function as a binary cross entropy. So the data set we have has some 25 columns of each genre and has value of 0 or 1. So that's why it is a binary, and the cross entropy is basically identifying like how it is like based on the predicted model and the actual model. So this loss function helps us to understand that. Now coming to the optimizer ADAM. So ADAM is basically like there are two things that we need to do. One is the RMS prop, and another thing is the ADA-GRAD. So RMS prop, like as we all know that the root mean square, like which calculates the like how the differences between the actual value and the predicted value. Now in the case of the RMS prop, the direction is based on the running the average of the previous gradient, and the gradient can go both in up direction and in the downward direction. In terms of ADA-GRAD, the gradient can only go in the downward direction, and it is basically helps in getting the adaptive moment. So as the name suggests, the ADAM, the full form is the adaptive moment. So it is a combination of the RMS prop and the Nastov accelerated gradient. So RMS prop helps us to get the running average, and the Nastov accelerated gradient help us to get the accelerated gradient so that it can converge faster. So that is why the ADAM performs very well in most of the CNN. And also we have many other like we also have NADAM, ADA delta, gradient descent, and stochastic. But ADAM seems to be a much better option, and I also got a very good result from using the ADAM. Now coming to the evaluation of the project. So the later part will be showing the demonstration of how the entire project works. But for now, it is just a evaluation. So as you can see, as the number of epochs were increasing, the loss was also decreasing, both in the training as well as in the validation set, which is really a good result. And in terms of also the model accuracy, we were able to achieve around 90% to 91% of accuracy in this project. And also the result seems to be increasing as the epochs also increase or the iteration increases. Now coming to the recommender system. So that was about the whole about how the CNN works and in identifying the genre of the poster image. But now if we take this, so what I did was extend my project to a recommenders, also to the recommender system, to build a simple recommender system. So it takes input as an image, and it identifies some of the poster images or some of the movies that are very similar to that. So the user gets a much better suggestion. So here we are using a content-based filtering, which is just takes the compares the whole images and finds the similarity between those images. The other option is the collaborative filtering, which takes the inputs from the users or how the users are interacting, and based on that it interacts. Based on that it recommends a movie. But for this project we don't have many users, so we are just focusing on finding the similarities between the movie poster images. So it provides the similar movies based on the cosine similarity score, which I'll be explaining later on how that works. And this was tested with the help of A/B experimentation, because like when the movies are suggested, we just see carefully observe on whether it suggested a correct movie or not, which we'll be seeing in the later demonstration part. So in the cosine similarity score, I'll be going cosine similarity score. So there are another ways of finding is the Euclidean distance. So when you have many coordinates, so if you can see here in the graph, I have this as the sentence as the laundering, then this as money, money laundering, and this as money, money, money. So if I compare this two sentence like 1 comma 2 and 1 comma 0, the Euclidean distance is very less here. So based on the Euclidean distance, it may seem like this is a very similar score. We will just say that yeah, these two are very similar. But if I take this money, money and this money laundering, then this seems to be also very close, right? Because a laundering can be also something like related to washing clothes or something. It could not be related to something specifically to money. So when I come like in terms of cosine similarity, what it does is takes the magnitude of the vector also matters. So in case of the Euclidean distance, but cosine similarity basically ignores that. So what it does is that see here we have 1 comma 2 and 0 comma 6. So if we take the angle between this two and this two, then this angle seems to be much less than this angle. So from based on the cosine similarity, these two sentences are very much close to it. Also, practically, if you observe this cosine curve, if my angle between these two goes to 90 degree, so let's say consider 1 comma 0 or 0 comma 6, that is a blue line and the green line. The angle between these two is a 90 degree. So the cosine similarity score, that is a cos of 90, is 0. So this image does not have any similarity. So that is about the cosine similarity score. And is using this, I generated the project based on the cosine similarity and developed a recommender system. So the conclusion of this was that accuracy of 90% was achieved, and also recommender system was developed based on, and the prediction model was also developed. So now this was the entire presentation of my pattern recognition, and now I'll be moving to the demo part, and I'll be also explaining some of my code. So as you can see, here is my demonstration part. So here is the data. I'm using the Google Colab, and I have imported my data set, that is a poster data, which has the training.csv, which I'll be showing, and the images of the poster. So now coming to so we are using TensorFlow and the Keras as the backend. So first what we do is we import the packages, that is a TensorFlow GPU. I have imported, installed in my Google Colab. After that, importing the required packages, that is flatten, dance, dropout, batch normalization, convolution 2D, as I told earlier in my presentation. And these are some of the other libraries which are generally used in the machine, like NumPy, Pandas, just for the other operations, and train, test, split, and everything. And I've cloned my data to the cloning my data from the GitHub. So I have pushed all my data on the GitHub, so it can be easily done. So even if you can run on your own Google Colab without any dependency. After that, moving to the CSV file. So this is a CSV file. As I told like earlier, I was telling about the binary cross entropy because the data was in 0 and 1. So here, sorry for that. Okay. So here we have adventure, animation, biography. So there are many of the, other genre here. And this is the ID. So what this ID is that basically the image, the file, the poster image, the file name is in terms of this file name. So we can easily load like images. So it is tt08425.jpg, and all these are the file names of JPG, which are unique, and also the respective data and training.csv. After that, I'm pre-processing the data so that image width is 320 to 320, and reshaping it such that creating into array and dividing by 255. So I'm doing this 255 is basically because of the for the normalization of my data. The other approach could be using a batch normalization, but I'm using this 255, and all this image is getting converted into an array. So here below you can see my image of X3. So X is basically the third image, or you can see the fourth image of my data set. And also like when this array was converted to X equal to np dot array, so the size of this, you can see the shape is 7254 into 320 into 323, which is basically a very large array. And here you can see about the information that is getting stored in the array about our images. And also if I try to plot one of the images, say X3, so here is the poster of that image, and also the genre, that is actual genre, that is it is a science fiction, and the thriller movie. This is a poster, and this is respectively the array of that image. So after that, I'm dropping here the data, that is the ID and genre. So we are training the data based on the other classes, that is the comedy, biography, and everything. Then moving to the other part, that is split data. So we are splitting the data for the validation. That is for the, like we'll be having the training test as well as splitting to check our model how it works. And we are using the training test split inbuilt class from the sklearn with the test size of 15%. After that comes a important part, that is building the convolutional neural network. So here we have many layers like the first layer, second, third, fourth, fifth, and also like the model was also tested with respect to like by removing these two layers and only on this, and the accuracy found was also 90%, so it did not affect much. And flattened layers, so these are all the components that I'd explained in the presentation, and I'm using the activation function as a ReLU. And also as the last, that is the sigmoid function, which I also explained like why I'm using sigmoid and not the softmax. It's basically because the sigmoid, in which the components are independent, the score that we compute is independent from the output of the other thing. And here is the model summary of our model. So as you can see, the number of parameters for each of them, like the total parameters are almost 2 millions. And then we compile the model, and based on the optimizer as the Adam and the loss as binary cross entropy, as I told earlier. And this is just a plot of the plot diagram, which I had built using the Keras model inbuilt function. So this is basically just the how the summary looks, and it's just a basic diagram. After that, here is the main thing of running the epochs or running the model. We try to feed the training and also testing it with respect to the testing data that we had found out. So here we are running the epochs as number of epochs as 5. So as you can see, the accuracy, like we were able to achieve in the first iteration of first epoch x88, and then it kept on increasing. So this is both the accuracy as well as the validation accuracy. And it seems pretty good based on the accuracy that I'm able to achieve. After that, the model was generated and it was built successfully. The parameters were generated. And the evaluation of plotting this using the same plotted. I plotted the whole learning curve. That is the number of epochs as are shown in the slides. Then coming to the validating part. So here I'm just testing my images. So I had taken the fast images, just a sample image. So I am loading the image and I am trying to fit that, predict, my model will be able to predict this image. So as you can see that we are able to predict like Fast and Furious, and the output that we got is the drama, comedy, and action. So it basically seems well, right? It is a drama movie and action movie. If you see in the real life, that yeah, definitely is an action and drama. But it's like kind of comedy and kind of not comedy. So it will just, so as I told earlier, that the output layer at the end, it will give the areas this thing. So as you can see, there are like 25 elements here, and it will show like what is the probability that this action movie. So for action, it is like 0.233. Then for here, you can see the comedy is like around 0.5. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking the top three channels of my movie and trying to predict, like trying to display it on what category does it belong. So after that, getting the image and successfully recognizing on what the channel the particular image is belonging, then we take the image to for the movie recommendation system. So as I explained in the presentation slide, that we are using the cosine similarity. So it is just a simple recommendation system. And what we are doing here is that we are taking the whole data set and we are trying to convert it into terms of string. So earlier we had the data set like the string.csv was in the list format. So it was like comedy, drama, comedy, action. But here we are just combining all of them just like a string. And we are applying the cosine similarity on this, on the new genre column. And from that, as you can see here, the similarity from the whole data set, it represents a symmetric matrix of rows and columns defining the movies. So it is 0 0.4, 0 0.7, and it's like the size is like 7254 into 7254, which is a pretty huge matrix. After that, this is just the basic helper functions to get the index and the title of a respective image. So here is the testing I'm doing. So I'm taking just title or the row number. So TT0864 is some row ID, and I'm trying to find the index. And based on that image, I'm applying the performing this similarity operation on this similarity matrix. So when this operation is performed, so it takes the image and it shows like here, see the 933, 934, each represents some image. So the 934 has some 66% similarity between this TT0. So it enumerates on, sorry for that, it enumerates on all the data and find out like what the similarity is. And after that, this is just a sorting operation. So what I'm trying to do here is take the top elements or the top result and recommend those to the user. So as you can see here, there are like many images, many images. Yeah. So here the image 12 has accuracy of 1%, or sorry, 100%, maybe because it could be very similar. So now in the later part, we will see on the demo. So going further. So here I'm displaying the top 5 result. So the earlier I told like I am taking some image. So I took here the image of TT086034. So this is some James Bond movie, and which is also action movie. And from this it recommended like this is the image that I was testing, and from that it recommended me 5 images. This is the first one, which is also James Bond movie and seems to be like something action movie. Then again Stallone movie, which is again an action movie. Then again another James Bond movie, and another Arnold movie, and another action movie. So it seems like all these 5 images that we got were something similar to the James Bond or the action movie. So it did perform very well in terms of recommending movie. So that was whole about my project. on predicting the movie genre based on the poster image, as well as recommending some of the movies to the user. So that's it for my presentation. Thank you very much.